We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. Jesus went with them to a garden called Gethsemane and told his disciples, "Stay here while I go over there and pray." Taking along Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, he plunged into an agonizing sorrow. Then he said, "This sorrow is crushing my life out. Stay here and keep vigil with me." Going a little ahead, he fell on his face, praying, "My Father, if there is any way, get me out of this. But please, not what I want. What do you want?" When he came back to his disciples, he found them sound asleep. He said to Peter, "Can't you stick it out with me a single hour? Stay alert. Be in prayer so you don't wander into temptation without even knowing you're in danger. There is a part of you that is eager, ready for anything in God. But there's another part that's as lazy as an old dog sleeping by the fire. Dear Jesus, please help us stay alert in prayer so we're ready for what you would have us do."
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. No sooner were the words out of his mouth when Judas, the one out of the 12, showed up, and with him a gang of ruffians sent by the high priest, religion scholars, and leaders, brandishing swords and clubs. The betrayer had worked out a signal with them. "The one I kiss, that's the one. Seize him. Make sure he doesn't get away." He went straight to Jesus and said, "Rabbi," and kissed him. The others then grabbed him and roughed him up. One of the men standing there unsheathed his sword, swung, and came down on the chief priest's servant, lapping off the man's ear. "Dear Jesus, when people betray my trust, help me forgive them as you forgave Judas. Amen."
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. When it was morning, the religious leaders of the people and the high priests and the scholars all got together and brought him before the high council. They said, "Are you the Messiah?" He answered, "If I said yes, you wouldn't believe me. If I asked you what you meant by your question, you wouldn't answer me. So here's what I have to say. From here on, the Son of Man takes his right place at God's right hand, the place of power. They all said, so you admit your claim to be the Son of God? You're the ones who keep on saying it, he said. But they had made up their minds. Why do we need any more evidence? We've all heard him as good as say it himself. Dear Jesus, you are the Messiah, the Anointed One, the Son of God. Amen.
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. All this time Peter was sitting out in the courtyard. One servant girl came up to him and said, "You were with Jesus the Galilean." In front of everybody there, he denied it. "I don't know what you're talking about." As he moved towards the gate, someone else said to the people there, "This man was with Jesus the Nazarene." Again, he denied it, salting his denial with an oath. "I swear, I never laid my eyes on this man." Shortly after that, some bystanders approached Peter. "You've got to be one of them. Your accent gives you away." Then he got really nervous and swore, "I don't know of a man." Just then a rooster crowed. Peter remembered what Jesus had said, "Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times." He went out and cried and cried and cried. Dear Jesus, like Peter, sometimes I deny my faith in you. Help me, like Peter, reflect on and grow from my mistakes. Amen.
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. At dawn's first light, the high priests, with the religious leaders and scholars, arranged a conference with the entire Jewish council. After tying Jesus securely, they took him out and presented him to Pilate. Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" He answered, "If you say so." The high priest let loose a barrage of accusations. Pilate asked again, "Aren't you going to answer anything?" That's quite a list of accusations. Still, he said nothing. Pilate was impressed. really impressed. Pilate gave the crowd what he wanted, set Barabbas free, and turned Jesus over for whipping and crucifixion. Dear Jesus, sometimes I feel judged, and sometimes I judge others. Help me always see you in other people. Amen.
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. So Pilate took Jesus and had him whipped. The soldiers, having braided a crown from thorns, set it on his head, threw a purple robe over him, and approached with him. Hail, King of the Jews! Then they greet him with slaps in the face. Dear Jesus, it makes me so sad to hear about how people hurt you. It makes me so sad to hear about how people all around me are hurt. Amen.
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. When the high priest and the police saw him, they shouted in a frenzy, "Crucify, crucify!" Pilate told them, "You take him, you crucify him. I find nothing wrong with him." They shouted back, "Kill him, crucify him." Pilate said, "I am to crucify your king?" The high priest answers, "We have no king except for Caesar." Pilate caved into their demands. He turned them over to be crucified. Dear Jesus, you must have felt scared. I have felt scared sometimes too. Please be with me when I am scared.
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. There was a man walking by, coming from work, Simon from Cyrene, the father of Alexander and Rufus. They made him carry Jesus' cross. Dear Jesus, Simon helped you when you really needed help. Show me how to be a friend to others when they most need it. Amen.
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. As they led him off, they made Simon, a man from Cyrene, who happened to be coming in from the countryside, carry the cross behind Jesus. A huge crowd of people followed, along with women weeping and carrying on. At one point, Jesus turned into the women and said, "Daughters of Jerusalem, don't cry for me. Cry for yourselves and for your children. The time is coming when they'll say, 'Lucky the woman who never conceived. Lucky the wombs that never gave birth. Lucky the breasts that never gave milk.' Then they'll start calling to the mountains, 'Fall down on us,' calling to the hills, 'Cover us up.' If people do these things to a live, green tree, can you imagine what they'll do with dead wood?" Dear Jesus, it's hard to understand why you went through so much pain and suffering. Why did God let it happen? Why do people get hurt and suffer? Amen.
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. When they got to the place called Skull Hill, they crucified him along with the criminals, one on his right, the other on his left. Jesus prayed, "Father, forgive them. They do not know what they're doing." Dividing up his clothes, they threw dice for them. The people stood there staring at Jesus, and the ringleaders made faces, taunting. "He saved others, let him save himself. The Messiah of God, ha! The chosen one, ha!" Dear Jesus, you trusted God that when you died on the cross, that wasn't the end of the story. Help me remember that the difficult times in my life aren't the end of the story either. Amen.
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. One of the criminals hanging alongside cursed him. "Some Messiah you are. Save yourself. Save us." But the other one made him shut up. "Have you no fear of God? You're getting the same as him. We deserve this, but not him. He did nothing to deserve this." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you have entered your kingdom." He said, "Don't worry, I will. Today you will join me in paradise." Dear Jesus, there's nothing I can do to keep you from loving me. You love us because of your amazing grace, not because of anything we do to deserve it. Amen.
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. While the soldiers were looking after themselves, Jesus' mother, his aunt, Mary the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene stood at the foot of the cross. Jesus saw his mother and the disciple he loved standing near her. He said to his mother, "Woman, here is your son." Then to the disciple, "Here is your mother." From that moment, the disciple accepted her as his own mother. Dear Jesus, thank you for the relationships I have in my church community, which are like family. Amen.
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because your holy cross you have redeemed the world. By now it was noon. The whole earth became dark, the darkness lasting 3 hours, a total blackout. The temple curtain split right down the middle. Jesus called loudly, "Father, I place my life in your hands." Then he breathed his last. Dear Jesus, when I remember that you died, it makes me want to be quiet. Amen.
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. Late in the afternoon, a wealthy man from Arimathea, a disciple of Jesus, arrived. His name was Joseph. He went to Pilate and asked for Jesus' body. Pilate granted his request. Joseph took the body and wrapped it in clean linens, put it in his own tomb, a new tomb only recently cut into the rock, and rolled a large stone across the entrance. Then he went off. But Mary Magdalene and other Mary stayed, sitting in plain view of the tomb. Dear Jesus, your friends have been very sad when Joseph rolled the giant stone in front of your tomb. As they sat outside the cave, they probably wondered what to do next. They would have missed you very much. Be with me when I feel lonely. Amen.
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. Jesus' friends went back to the tomb on the third day to watch and pray. But when they arrived, they were surprised to see that the giant stone had been moved. They looked inside, but Jesus was nowhere to be found. Instead, the friends saw two angels. The angels told them that Jesus was not there, because he had risen from the dead. Jesus' friend Mary Magdalene was frightened, but then she saw Jesus, and he told her that he was alive. She ran to tell the rest of Jesus' friends. They did not know what to think. They didn't believe Mary. But Jesus visited again one day, walking with two of his friends to a town called Emmaus. Later, he joined all his friends in a room where they were hiding, trying to decide what to do next. That's when his friends knew Jesus really had risen from the dead. His power, God's power, was stronger than death. Dear Jesus, thank you for walking the difficult journey to the cross. Help us keep our eyes on you, not only today, but every day. Today, at the tomb, we lay down our sadness and guilt. Walk with us as we show our love for you by loving others. Amen.